Welcome to the Flourishing Entrepreneur Podcast with Alea Harris. This is the place where you and your fellow empire-building entrepreneurs come to vanquish the burnout monster and boost your glow and cash flow with energy alignment techniques and tried and true marketing strategies. Since 7 figures won't get itself, hit that subscribe button and never miss out on your chance to skyrocket profits, tap into your intuition, and manifest your dreams. And now, your host, Powerhouse Story Brand Certified Guide, award-winning marketer, bioenergetic business coach, and Japanese whiskey lover, Alea Harris. This episode is brought to you by Bioenergetic Business Coaching by Flourish Marketing. Do you wake up feeling tired? You can't build your empire if you're cranky and exhausted. If you're fed up with fighting a losing battle against the burnout monster, it's time to fix the root causes of your issues and get aligned. Turn up the wattage on your glow and cash flow with effective business strategies. Bioenergetic business coaching is for growth-getting entrepreneurs who know they need to make a change to see better results and reach their goals. If you want to unblock your energy and unleash abundance, head to www.flourishmarketing.co/coaching to become a client. Now's your chance to step into the role of CEO, Chief Energy Officer, and flourish in business and life. Go to www.flourishmarketing.co/coaching to get started.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to this vulnerability and courage coaching session. I am blessed and thrilled and a little bit excited to be joined today by the lovely Michelle Wong. Michelle Wong is one of my brand new bioenergetic business coaching clients, and you, my friend, are in for a treat today because this is her very first bioenergetic business coaching scan. I wish I had been recording when I showed her the results already and she went, oh, wow. But you're going to get to see some of it. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining it today. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you're here?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, Alea. This is awesome. And yeah, what you showed me was a little mind-blowing. Crazy how that works. So many questions, but trusting the process. Who I am, I go by the Busy Coach. I am a sales coach focusing on helping women entrepreneurs who want to be able to sell effortlessly without doing anything pushy or annoying or salesy. So it's really just about helping you tap into your inner power so that you can just use your innate abilities, your empathy and your emotional intelligence to run those sales calls instead of being super aggressive. So why I kind of found Leah and kind of came to her was I was struggling with my messaging and my just how do I kind of tell people this? I was in a crossroad from my previous kind of program. I loved it, but then it just at some point I wasn't fully aligned with the purpose of it anymore. And kind of going through that process and self-healing and all that kind of stuff. I just figured, really to step into what is really, really easy for me, which is being super confident in selling, which I never really put the two together. So the work, what I did with Leah and really the marketing and the messaging now that I have, I feel so great about it and just strong, and I can't wait to just put it out into the world. So this whole energetic business coaching, I've always found I'm kind of in that mode of I really need to work on my spirituality and how to, really remove the fact of success and income and all of that kind of stuff. And I know that has to do with your energy and how you show up and how do you kind of portray that. So that is why I'm doing that kind of bioenergetic coaching. And I'm just so fascinated by the technology that we have nowadays that we can tap into these things and know what I should be working on versus what I think. Because sometimes always in my head so much that I'm like, hey, is this actually what I should be working on or just what I think I should be working on? Whereas this is a very clear path of no, this is what.
Nah, girl, this is what you working on today.
Yeah, like this is
That's
your
what-
girl. Like, there's no other, thing to do it. Like just focus on this. And yeah, so I'm really excited to get started with this process and just to dive in even more of understanding me and like all of this, I guess, bioenergy stuff that comes along with it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited too. And it was kind of cool because our very first session, we were supposed to scan you. And
Yeah.
I couldn't get access to the software because the software was down. And we'd been talking about things like trust and forgiveness. We actually did an exercise on forgiveness. And then that is exactly what shows up in the scan. So it is pretty spot on. That's, I think, where your wow came from. So I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah.
show you the scan. And for those of you who are not watching on video, and for those of you who are who are listening, you can go ahead and go to the show notes at flourishmarketing.co/podcast and see screenshots of the scans. So here we have your scan, Michelle. The scan has a lot of different areas, and actually one scan takes about a month for us to truly work through and help clear some of the blockages that are holding you back in business and in life. But the first screen that I like to start on is in the life journey section, and it's called the transformation screen. This probably will look familiar to a lot of you because it is the chakra system, and it tells you exactly what's aligned and misaligned. Now, when you are talking about the chakra system or any of the elements of the scan, there's some colored dots that indicate priority level, purple being the highest priority, orange being the next highest priority. And those, then it goes yellow, green, and white, but we're mostly focused on purple and orange. Michelle has purple on trust. She has orange on compassion and orange on focus. And I hear the laughter. The laughter is cracking me up. She goes, wow, really? Yes,
Yeah,
really.
it's so true. Yeah, I have trust issues for sure.
Okay. And that's okay. We all got issues. We
Yeah,
all got
yeah.
issues. There's no such thing as a scan that looks perfect. That is all white, no dots, is blank. It does not exist. When you do the scan, so Michelle, before we started recording, she recorded her voice and her body field was measured by the software. Her energy field was measured by the software and over her voice, and then it matches all of the different points that it measures in the software to the quote unquote ideal body field, and it does each point multiple times and then determines what is the wisdom of your body and your energy field saying it needs some help with right now. It's not a biochemical measurement. It is a bioenergetic measurement. So it could be the energy around or in you. It could be your intentions. It could even be if you just had a seriously deep conversation with a friend who broke your trust, and it's showing up right here on the scan. So it's not necessarily acute or chronic. However, as we go through the different screens, we'll start to notice patterns and themes. Unfortunately, in this podcast episode, we're not going to be able to go through all of the screens, but that's, you're a bioenergetic business coaching client, so we're going to go through all of your screens.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what the whole thing is about. So as we look at trust and we see that it is purple, we've spoken before about your relationship to trust, but what does trust even mean to you to begin with?
Oh, I feel like that's such a loaded question. Yeah.
Absolutely a loaded question, intentionally loaded. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust is that it's a difficult one to answer that. Like, I guess to me, trust just means that you are safe
Mm-hmm.
and whatever capacity that might mean, whether it's in a relationship or business deal. And I guess where there is not that fear, when fear is not as in the forefront, is how I think of trust.
Mm.
Yeah,
What is the fear that's in the forefront of your mind
right now of trust
right
issues.
now? Just right now.
Oh, okay. Trusting, the typical of like trusting yourself, trusting if you're, making the right decision. As an entrepreneur or business owner, like we are faced with this every second or every minute of the day. Like That's why I was saying like entrepreneurship is so fucking hard.
Yeah, it
Just
really is.
because you have to have trust, which is clearly something I need to work on. But like trusting in the people that you work with, or hiring, or investments, or even yourself, like the self doubt and the imposter syndrome. I think what it's also picking up, at least for me right now, it's probably imposter syndrome for me of trusting in my own ability, trusting in my
Mhm.
own value, my own worth. Like, am I what I say I am? Can I actually show up to who I say I am? And that trust is definitely, I definitely need to work on it. I want to build upon that. But right now in the forefront, I think it's more internal of, can I trust me and like the decisions I'm making?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you've recently, like you said in the very beginning, you've changed your approach.
Yeah.
What was hindering you from trusting that you could do that? What was causing you to feel like you were scared or not able to move forward with that shift?
With the original offer, or is that what you meant?
Well, moving from the original offer to the offering that you have now.
I think it's just like going through that process again. Whenever you
Mhm.
build something new or have a new offer, there's always that kind of question like, is this the right direction that I'm going into? Because, like, the original offer was working. It's not like it was broken, or it just, I personally didn't feel completely aligned to it anymore. And so I think that was the hard part about trusting, which is the whole saying of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, like, don't
Mm.
attempt to even try to change it. But I had to make that decision, and with that decision, I had to put a pause on everything and kind of work on myself again, and that internal. So that is where I think the trust is a little wonky. It's just going through that new phase of whatever, it's a new business or a new offer or whatever, you're always going to have that little annoying voice in your head of asking you, hey, is this the right move? Is this the right thing? Should we, we overthink all the time, right? Like,
Yeah.
where I say like fear dictates a lot of our actions, which is probably
Mhm.
affecting your sales or your lead generation or even making a decision. And it kind of formats into that. So yeah, I think that would be very interesting once we get this purple down.
Once we get this purple down, what that would mean to how you would be able to make decisions.
Yeah.
Trust is, as you know, a foundational element. There's
Mm,
lots of feelings out there, but trust is one of those that is at your core, at the bottom of where you are. And so then it
right.
often is formed when you're a child,
Hmm.
often formed when you're young. When was the last time you, as a child, or I guess not the last time, the first time that you can think of where you didn't feel invincible? Kids will run and swing from trees and, barrel down hills on bikes, and they trust that no matter what, you're gonna be fine. That's why you get the
Yeah,
scraped knees and elbows, but they're gonna get back on that bike and do it again the next day because they have this sense of trust and security that comes.
totally. Yeah.
Can you think of a first time for you
Ooh.
where that trust was broken? Where you didn't feel that reckless sense of abandon, where you didn't feel trust? It could have been from a parent, from a family member, from a friend.
I think probably it was probably when we first immigrated to Canada. I came when I was 5 years old, like between 4 or 5. And so I think that's when it really like shook my ground, or shook me. Just because new environment, coming from Hong Kong to Vancouver, like Canada, like having to, not really, I was learning English, but it was definitely not at the point I was 4 or 5. I was still, fluent in speaking Cantonese and stuff. So having to learn a new language and being in this new environment, that was when I felt like like I was just so unrocky. Like I just didn't feel like it was safe, that having that trust. Back in the day, it was also very difficult of wrapping your head around racism. Coming
Mm-hmm.
from Hong Kong, we are mostly Chinese or Asian, and then coming to a place where you're the minority. So going from
Yeah.
majority to minority, that was like, whoa, okay. Didn't really understand that. And that was a process in itself of learning how to trust again and learning
Mm.
how to maneuver in that kind of situation.
That type of mistrust is a mistrust for the world, for the environment, for the context within which you find yourself. And we've spoken about that before,
Yeah.
where you aren't always sure about how the world perceives you, what the world sees about you. And then when it does, you feel like society makes a judgment about you, it's usually incorrect.
Mm.
So do you feel like that sense of trust that got broken when you first moved here ever really got repaired?
Whew. I don't think so. I don't
Mm.
think so. And I think it's just because of who I ended up being, like when I was 4 or 5, I was kind of just that, you know, minority in the sense of being Asian and being in a predominantly white kind of culture and neighborhood. And then not only that, it was like obviously being a woman, you're another minority, or being a
Yep.
girl, being taught that you got to be safe, and like where I have an older brother, so it was really again awkward and interesting to see that interaction where my brother was able to do anything. He did pave the road for me in the sense of rebelling and all that kind of stuff, but he got to do so much more, and he was able to explore and do all these things, whereas a girl, you're taught to be careful, and you can't do this, you can't do that. And then finding out that I'm gay, like 20 or whatever years later, like that also has an element of mistrust. And so, like, kind of figure out that I'm a triple minority and trying to navigate through this world, my trust has been broken over and over. And it's not just in my personal life, but even in business, it's affected me. And so, yeah, I don't think it has ever been repaired.
Hopefully we can work on that together. That's a big tall order for a 20-minute podcast episode.
Yes.
But as we work together in our sessions, I know that we can help you relieve some of that. I changed the screen a little bit to
Yes.
move from not move away from the topic of trust, but to dive deeper into the layers of it. Part of the way, because trust, especially for you, was broken at such a young age, and it's affected the way you make a lot of the decisions that you make, it also shows up in how you understand your world. So it's
Mm,
forgiveness that needs to happen for yourself and others. You don't trust yourself, so your intuition is blocked. When
mm,
is a good time to end a period of your life? And what does your life even mean? What is the purpose? Where's it going to? You're a triple minority. What is all of this for? This has to be
yeah.
for a reason. You're gay for a reason. You're a woman for a reason. You're Asian for a reason. What is the reason? And that searching around often makes it difficult for you to nail down and feel confident in the decisions that you make in life and business. Does that resonate with you?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. One of the things that rocks trust is actually our defense mechanism that protects us for so long is actually really good, does a really good job. It's something that
Mhm.
you've heard of. It's called your ego. Your
Mhm.
ego is designed to help protect you and to motivate you and to push you forward when you're kind of a little bit shaky. The problem is when the ego gets the message that it's in control and that you need more protection than you think that you do, because then you can't ever heal if you're always just protecting. It
Mm,
requires vulnerability to heal from trust and to heal from past hurt and to forgive yourself and others. Ego also is the message to yourself that you are in control. And I hate to break it to you. None of us are in control. And when we realize that, then we open ourselves up to the beauty of life, realizing that there is actually something out there working for our highest good. we've experienced and you've experienced a lot of what has not been working for your highest good. So it's very difficult to understand that, which means it's very difficult to take your ego out of the driver's seat. What I encourage you to do is to take control of your ego. And I just so happen to have a tool to help you do that. Surprise, surprise. I have a tool for pretty much everything. So what we're going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. And I'm going to have you repeat after me a little recalibration technique that you can do now, and then you can download the recalibration guide, or you actually already have it, or I can send it to you at flourishmarketing.co/recalibrate so that you can see this. And I used to say this when I was feeling extreme amounts of anxiety or extreme amounts of lack of trust or doubt. I would say it 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening, 3 times in the morning, sometimes in the middle of the day, because I had to keep reminding myself that no, I am in control. I don't need you to bully me into needing to go to the chiropractor all damn time, and to my body hurting, and to pushing other people away. No, I do not need that from you right now. I am in control. So I'm going to say it. You're going to repeat after me. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you ready to take control of your ego? Yep. Well, yes. Okay. Repeat after me. The ego does not have permission to assume any kind of position, whether I am conscious or unconscious of its actions. The ego is no longer in authority and does not have permission allowance or freedom to control or make me sick or attached to the past. The ego, excuse me, only has permission to support me in unconditional loving. Yes. So there's actually a little bit longer than that, but that little bit alone usually got me through the day. If you're able to recognize how powerful it is when you can assume control and responsibility and accountability for your own self and not kind of give it away to someone else, which is often what happens when we get scared and we have a lack of trust. We kind of, that vulnerable, that squishy, soft part of us goes back thinking that it's weak and it needs something to protect it, as opposed to realizing that that vulnerability has a lot of power in it. So, Michelle, how are you feeling about moving forward with understanding that your trust is blocked and working through that whole experience?
I'm excited, really. Like, I know this is, I guess since I really started doing therapy this year, I know that that is a major aspect of my life that I need to work on, which is having that trust in myself and really healing all of those parts that I need to heal to allow me to trust in myself. Because I totally hear you. Like, it's blocking my intuition. It's blocking the messages that I can be getting from the universe, and to help me make my decisions and to help me put trust so I'm not worrying so much. I think that's also the other aspect of, like, if you don't have trust, then you also have a lot of worry. And
Yeah,
I just want to get through life without wasting so much time worrying about shit that I don't need to be worrying about. So I'm really excited
absolutely.
to really go through this process, to figure out, and try this like mantra or chant out and stuff to get rid of the ego. Because yeah, I read, what's his name's book, something about ego.
Something about ego.
The new
Girl, I
purpose,
don't know.
Toll.
Eckhart Tolle.
There you go, that's it.
There we go.
Yeah, because I read that and I was like, I totally hear you. It's just not as
I
easy
hear it
to.
in my head, but I don't hear it in my heart, which means that I can't do anything with that
Yes,
information.
exactly.
Got it. Got it. Well, the good thing is with bioenergetics is that that's why I say it gets to the root cause. So we're like, okay, so why am I not making the decisions that I want to in my business? Oh, my trust is blocked. Okay, now let's unblock your trust. We're going to do that with recalibration techniques like navigating and managing your ego. I will also recommend to you to purchase what's called emphyceuticals. They are charged water that is specifically charged with the energy and information your body field is missing. So as we talk it through, as you work with your therapist, there are ways to support you energetically in opening up those areas so that it doesn't feel like such a slog. You can get through them with a little bit of help from your emphyseutical friends. So that's going to be the next step for us. And in our next session, we'll keep diving on in. Thank you so much for joining me, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Like, this was really eye-opening, and I can't wait to get started.
Awesome. So if people want to connect with you or your business and learn more, where can people find you?
Hit me up on Instagram or TikTok. It's The Busy Coach, Bizzy, and then Coach. Or you can go to my website and email me. I'm pretty open if you wanted to say hi or you have some questions. I'm happy to share my experience, especially if you have questions about, bioenergetic and coaching and stuff. Happy to share my experience, and it's been awesome so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I look forward to our next session. And to all of you out there, love, light, and abundance. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Flourishing Entrepreneur Podcast with Alea Harris. Dive into the show notes at www.flourishmarketing.co/podcast and connect with Alea at Flourishing Entrepreneur on Instagram. Vibing with what you hear? Leave a 5-star review to spread the love and be sure to click subscribe. From the entire Flourish Marketing team, we wish you love, light, and abundance. See you next time.